what do your eyes look at immediately? The bunch of trees down there. Because there is nothing else. All the space is empty, except this. You may also take a picture in a picture. I was doing a Polish Music Awards ceremony, Thessaloniki, last year. Photographers didn't get a special place, so we simply had to go into the crowd, say, excuse me, I'm press, I'm photo press, I'm sorry, to get to the front as much as possible. But still, there were hands in the air, there were mobile phones in the air. And this was actually a good opportunity, because I had my long lenses, which give a lot of detail but no overall view. This person was shooting a very wide angle, the whole stage. So I think this is a very good example of a picture in a picture, frame within a frame. This is the city I call home, this is Gdańsk, and this is the view of the main market, the long market, from the green gate. The gate is an additional frame to this picture, and the marketplace is your subject. Sometimes all it takes is for the photo to be simple. Introducing Jacek Halicki, Polish Wikimedian, who has recently taken on product photography in addition to his monument skills. This bottom picture is not his. It's the same SSD drive as in the top picture, but when I looked here, I immediately thought chaos. Excuse me, is this a finger? No, it's a battery. And I was distracted by everything that was going around the SSD. The top pictures, these are very proper product pictures because they show exactly only this product. Another, I mentioned that Jacek Halicki is an excellent monuments photographer. This is his picture of a religious building in Warsaw. It shows only this building. An alternative photo of the same building. We've got some cars, we've got some buildings which are around. The photo isn't centered properly. It's not a very good informative photo. The left one is, because it eliminates all the distractions. Every nation has a few authors of the words, symmetry is an aesthetics of a fool. Call me a fool. Andrzej Piaseczny on tour. I had this opportunity to be standing just in front of the stage when he spread his hands. The lights behind him were symmetrical. This is a pretty good symmetrical picture. And our brain also likes symmetry. So Victor Hugo, Corbusier, Picasso, Lascaux, you know nothing. Or we are all fools, which is another option. Our brain also likes patterns, things that are repeating. Just like this aloe plant is a perfect Fibonacci spiral. Our brains like things that repeat. Since ancient times, the golden ratio was known. Whoever knows what a golden ratio is? Mikola? You know what golden ratio is? Can you quickly tell us? Yes. So like the relation of a smaller part to the larger part is the relation of the larger part to everything. Yeah. It was known in ancient Greece, and it's also something which is very appealing to the brain. It's something that the brain likes. The story goes that Mona Lisa was done also according to the golden ratio, but there is nothing in Leonardo da Vinci's notes that supports this. So it's a hypothesis, a very strong one, but just a hypothesis. A simpler version of the golden ratio is a rule of thirds. Sometimes people ask me, why is the view on my telephone or in my camera divided into 9 fields? To help you take photos according to the rule of thirds. If you divide picture into 9 sections, equal sections, 2 lines down, 2 lines across. These are the so-called strong lines. Now this red thing here is a microphone stand used by the vocalist on this concert. And it's exactly on the right strong line. The left strong line is here. So according to the rule of thirds, it's a good picture, it's a well-composed picture. I'll show you a different example. On the left is a regular boring landscape. On the right, it's the same landscape according to the rule of thirds. Now, this bottom line, 1/3 is the ground, 2/3 it's the sky. The same happens here. Left line corresponds to this rock formation. Rule of thirds, perfection. Now let me finish with a few hints and tips. Basically, you can combine techniques. It's all right to combine techniques, leading lines with the rule of thirds, as long as you know what you're doing. At the beginning, try to use one technique. Try to choose your favorite technique, but of course you can combine them and you can break them. Rules are meant to be broken, but only if you know how. So the picture of the keyboard player violated the rule of thirds, but it was a good example of negative space rule. The horizon needs to be straight, not leaning. It needs to be straight. And vertical lines like walls, like corners, need to be vertical. You ask me, what do you do in this situation? I see no horizon and the building is sort of collapsing on itself because of the optics, because of the geometry. Well, there is a central vertical line and you photograph according to this line. Also, avoid intruders. Now this is a photo which I hate. This is my first accreditation on a concert and this is a photo which I hate. Basically because red light is very difficult to photograph. It makes all pictures flat, but also there is an intruder from the left. And this guitar is incomplete. The head of the guitar is cut off. These are quite big mistakes and I'm ready to own up to them and I'm ready to commit to them. Avoid chopping off parts. I'll show you a better picture of something which was chopped off unnecessarily. But also avoid intruders like this on the left. And it's better to shoot wide open, to take a shorter focal length and cut it later, than shoot narrow and cry, because I chopped it and I don't know what to do with it. If you photograph people, don't cut the pictures in joints, like elbows, knees. Don't cut off feet. I was trying to do a negative space picture during last year's Eurovision. And it sort of worked out and it didn't, because I cut off her feet. That's one thing. And she's looking in the direction, in the short, she's looking to the short side of the picture. She should be looking towards here. And that would make the picture a bit better. Also the harsh light, very harsh light, shows every imperfection of her body. I could get killed for this picture. Also, when you take a nice picture on the beach, make sure that the horizon doesn't cut off the head or doesn't cut your model in half. These are a big no-no. Also, like a palm sticking out of the head, it's a big no-no. Try to think about it before you shoot, because after you shoot, you have to shoot again to eliminate these mistakes. And also when you photograph dogs or inanimate objects, don't cut off ears, fingers in humans, tails in dogs. I mean, these are This is a very nice dog, actually. The breed is a German mountain hound. But here, the paw is somewhat clipped. We don't see the nails. And the dog on the right is also incomplete. So, not the best picture that you can have. And one of the last slides, if you shoot people for informational purposes, like for your info box, or if you work for a newspaper, if you work for a news agency, they have to be cropped very tightly. I mean, when people scroll a Wikipedia article, you don't want to force them to stop, click the picture, zoom in, and then come back to the article. People will not do that. People will just skip over. If you want to give them a good informative picture, you do this. This is a very well composed picture of a vocalist. The cuts are not in joints. The microphone is complete. Nothing, not even her hair, is cropped out here. It's a featured picture on Wikimedia Commons for a reason, because it's a very well composed informational picture. And now for my practically last slide. As I said, it was a very intensive session, but I see that you're not sleeping yet. I'm wishing you all to have pictures of the year. This is a very well composed picture. Let's think about it. There's no rule of thirds, which I absolutely love. I'm a psycho fan of the rule of thirds. But cool colors of the sky combined with the warm colors of the building. Lots of light in the sky, still lots of light. It looks like late afternoon, early evening, but there's still a lot of light in the sky. Not much light here, but it's still visible. Leading lines of the sidewalks towards the building. It's a perfect picture. It's also a featured picture on Wikimedia Commons. It's a picture which was on the main page of Wikimedia Commons in June. And I am wishing you exactly that. I am wishing you that this knowledge from today, plus your practice, plus whatever materials you may want to read or listen to or watch, bring you these pictures of the year. Stephen King once said, if you want to become a competent writer, you have to do two things: read a lot and write a lot. So I'm saying, if you want to be a competent photographer, you have to do two things. Look at a lot of pictures, including those bad, and take a lot of pictures, including those bad. Comments? Questions? Rotten tomatoes? If yes, I still have 5 minutes. If not, you can find me under my email. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Commons. You can find me on Telegram. You can find me live on this conference. So any questions here? Hands up. There are questions. Oh my God. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to ask someone to roam the microphone. And
Thank you so much for your presentations. What are your favorite subjects to photograph?
As you could probably see from the photos which I said are mine, I am a concert photographer. This is a rather difficult style of photography, but I am lucky enough to receive, I was lucky enough to receive invitations or photo passes for a few big events, including Eurovision. So concert photography, because I always loved music and I always loved music performed live. Thank you. There is also a hand in the back.
You showed us a few examples of photos that had mistakes. Could we theoretically take a bad photo, an incorrect photo, and change it a bit to something correct with a different purpose? I did notice the picture of the dogs. Could theoretically be an information picture if cropped the correct way, much like the photo of the singer?
The perfectly cropped picture doesn't cut out any of the dog, the model, the important thing. So one thing, if you are unsure, you photograph more openly and then cut in a post-processing program. There are also free programs. I'm using Lightroom, but there are also free programs. The same, if you are worried that your exposure is not right, it's better to underexpose, to shoot darker, than to overexpose. Because if you burn out the information, it's gone. But if you, let me go back to this. There was very little light in this concert. No, in this concert, there was very little light. And when I looked at the screen of my camera after I took this picture, it was almost completely dark. But any photo processing program will drag things from the shadows. So two important bits of advice if you are afraid that you will botch your picture is shoot wider and cut, underexpose, and bring up the light in post-processing.
I have a question to this photo, because you have a pretty high ISO. So is this already degrained through post-processing?
Yes.
Okay.
All the pictures that I take are RAWs, and all of the pictures undergo post-processing.
Thanks. And the second thing is that I wanted to say that the palace is not Schönbrunn in Vienna, because I'm from Vienna and I know.
Okay, thank you for that bit of information. I'm hoping to visit Vienna for another Eurovision next year.
Oh, you should.
Oh, I should.
If it happens.
Yeah, it happens in the from the 12th to 16th or something like this. May.
Thank you. Brilliant presentation as always. And the building is North Ireland Parliament building in Belfast.
See? Wikimedians know everything. Wikimedians know everything. Thank you. Okay, is there another question, comment, or another tomato?
Thank you for 50 millimeters. I was always wondering, I noticed that with smaller cameras you get wide angle, and I didn't realize that now this is your scientific explanation.
Okay, so for those of you who didn't hear, or for the online recording, thank you for the 50 millimeters, because yes, this is exactly what your eyes can see with 50 millimeters. You can say that your eyes are 50 millimeter lenses.
Small cameras like candy cameras or phone cameras or small cameras usually have 28 or something 40 millimeters or
Yes,
20.
yeah, an asterisk here. 50 millimeters is for so-called full-frame cameras, like Nikon D750, Nikon Z6. But if you own a Nikon D3200, D7500, Z30, this is called a crop camera. So your normal lens will be a 35 millimeter lens. And luckily, Nikon and other manufacturers make 35 millimeter lenses exactly for these cameras. If nothing, then I'll thank you. My time is up. It's time for Mikola to step on the stage. And as I said, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to me with anything photography related. I'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
This is Mop is a Mop.
Sorry, do you want the microphone?
I will use this one, I think. Yeah. So I'm Mikola, and this is Mop is a Mop. Mop is a Mop was introduced to the world during Wikimania in Nairobi. And this is a cutie, or
It's a
mascot of users with extended rights. And as I'm giving presentation about Wikipedia administrators and how we support them, I think Moppy has her own place on the stage. Yay. And after the presentation, you can also take a photo with Moppy and go to the presentation for users with extended rights afterwards. Yeah, this is clear, yeah. So hello everybody, my name is Mikola, or user Nick K on Wikimedia projects. I am an administrator of Ukrainian Wikipedia and a board member of Wikimedia Ukraine. And on the intersection of both of these hats, I'm talking about supporting administrators and patrollers, how we have tried to do it and what we experienced in Ukraine and what we want to do next. And if there is space, also talk about your thoughts and experiences. So to give you some context about where we are coming from, Ukrainian Wikipedia has about 50 administrators, CISOP rights, and over 600 patrollers, editor rights. We exist since 2004, 21 years, and we have over 1.3 million articles in Ukrainian. Of course, administrators and patrollers are central to keeping Wikipedia useful and reliable. You probably know this already, and you can probably guess that 50 administrators for 1.3 million articles is not a lot. So it's important for us to retain them, get the new ones. And of course, the Wikipedia community is self-governed, so Wikimedia Ukraine cannot say we will appoint 50 new administrators tomorrow. But what we can do as a Wikimedia affiliate, and what we encourage you to do as leaders of your communities or of your affiliates, is to support the change, help the community to support users with extended rights. And there are many ways you can do it, which are training, facilitating networking, and increasing motivation to recruit new participants in these cohorts and motivate the existing ones to stay and become more active. And some of the issues we are facing are global. For example, we know that recruiting admins has been a difficult task in many communities, and retaining existing users with experienced users is also a global difficulty, but there are also specifically Ukrainian problems, particularly those related to the ongoing full-scale Russian invasion, which harms the community capacity because, well, people have other things to do, unfortunately. And editing Wikipedia is not necessarily their first priority. So what we have done in the past, where we are coming from, so Wikimedia Ukraine organized Forum of Administrators in 2021. It was during COVID, so it was convenient that we could do an online forum at the time where everybody knew what an online forum is already. Before that, we had an offline conflict resolution workshop in Ukraine in 2016. We also had a community initiative with admin primaries. So this was a community survey where we asked fellow Wikimedians, who do you want to become a next admin? And they gave names, and this motivated people to show up and say, okay, I will apply, and if like 5 people think I should be an admin, I will probably want to go through the voting. And we got 4 new admins who were elected, 0 people who were not elected, but many people who refused. So there were probably 10 people who the community said, you would be a good candidate, but they said, well, I actually don't want it. So, yeah, you want the question now, or, sorry? Yeah, so we had a lot of people who said this in Ukrainian community. So this program got 3 people in the first year, 1 person in the second year, and that's where we stopped it. And then we have an experiment with temporary admins, which was born from an experiment in February 2022, when we needed a quick solution during the full-scale invasion, and we had a mismatch between people who have most time to contribute and people who have admins. So we had a fast-track procedure for people to get admin rights for a temporary period of 1 or 2 months. This is not necessarily the case now that we dearly need this program now, but it happened to be a good stepping stone for people to try adminship for 1 or 2 months before realizing, is it a good fit for me? Do I want to continue as a full-time admin, or actually it's not a good fit? Both from the community perspective, they don't get on well with how this person makes decisions, and for a personal perspective of the candidate. So we keep this program running, and 24 users already had temporary admin rights, and few of them become full-time admins since. So in 2024, we had a strategic discussion in Wikimedia Ukraine, and we realized that more systematic support to Ukrainian Wikipedia administrators and patrollers should be a strategic priority for our chapter. And we decided that we need to actually start it as not like a patchwork of small initiatives, but as a systematic program. So we formed the working group. We ran a survey for existing admins and patrollers. We got 76 replies, which is quite decent given the community size. Then we had 10 individual interviews with experienced administrators and patrollers, and we looked at international experience at what was done, particularly in Poland, in Germany, and elsewhere, where we could find some documentation. Thank you for those also who made sessions about it at Wikimedia events, because it was helpful for us to know what is being done elsewhere. And just as a quick caveat, we have also sister projects in Ukrainian like Wikisource or Wikiquote, and we have minority languages like Crimean Tatar. It doesn't mean we want to exclude them. So if there are admins or patrollers from this language edition or the smaller projects who want to join the program, we encourage them to join, but we will not tailor the content. The content is tailored for Ukrainian Wikipedia, and the problems and solutions that we are talking about are mostly tailored for what we have seen on Ukrainian Wikipedia, which doesn't mean it is not relevant for other projects. Maybe the projects in your language face something similar. So first of all, I will talk about the survey results. So what we found from research in the problems of Ukrainian Wikipedia administrators and patrollers. So we had 19 admins and 67 patrollers. Obviously they overlap. Most people who are admins also do some patrolling work. And four key themes that we wanted to survey people on is what they know about Wikimedia Ukraine, what support they got from Wikimedia Ukraine in the past, what support they want to get us in the future, and how do they see networking and experience exchange, how do they want us to facilitate this? So first of all, about awareness. I will not have as many good photos as Wojciech. This is the photo from the Huh?
But you learned.
I did. So this is a photo of forum of administrators of Ukrainian Wikipedia. You see most people are still centered, so that's pretty good. But this was an online forum, and as you can see, half of the people did not turn on their cameras for the group photos. This is quite a wiki spirit of administrators who want to stay quite anonymous and don't want to appear anywhere in commons. So among people we surveyed, 50% of administrators and patrollers said they know the activities of Wikimedia Ukraine well, and the rest mostly said, well, we heard the name, that Wikimedia Ukraine exists, but we don't know a lot of details, which was kind of in line with what we expected to hear. Then about the past support, 34% of participants say that they received the support related to their admin or patroller rights. Most of them said that was the forum that you saw on the previous slide. The 2021 forum was their main type of support they received from us. And also receiving the wiki condensed milk. Those of you who were at the Ukrainian meetup already know. If not, you will see the picture now, what I'm talking about. And only if you said they wanted and received another form of support. For example, one user received a letter from Wikimedia Ukraine that we sent to a governmental educational organization to solve a wiki-related problem. Basically, a governmental organization were encouraging people to always create the same article on Wikipedia for years. So Wikimedia Ukraine sent a letter, and it helped a lot of admins who were deleting this article repeatedly. So this is a condensed milk. So you can see this is a New Year edition or Christmas edition. Where is it coming from? That in Ukrainian Wikipedia we don't like barn stars because we don't have barns. So we decided it's not really relevant for the CE.
You have cows.
Yeah, well, we have condensed milk because condensed milk is a popular sweet in Ukraine. And we decided, let's use pictures of condensed milk instead of barn stars. Why not? And then we decided, okay. And then we decided, let's distribute physical condensed milk to volunteers. So since a few years, most active administrators and patrollers regularly receive cans of physical condensed milk as a token of appreciation. And they seem to remember it, so that's quite good. No, it's a brand neutral print that we made from us, but we have a lot of community discussion what type of condensed milk we need to order because we are Wikimedians. So it's important to pick the best one. So then let's talk about the desired future support, what people said they want Wikimedia Ukraine to do for them. So 36% of participants gave us some specific ideas of how Wikimedia Ukraine can support them. And most of others said like, it's a good idea, but I don't know. And only a few said like, no, Wikimedia Ukraine cannot support me in any way. So that was quite good that people want to get some support. The first priority by far was education and experience exchange. So administrators want to have some events where they can talk about what is happening and how they can make their lives better. Second priority is developing technical tools for administrators and patrollers, which is kind of difficult from Wikimedia Ukraine perspective because historically we as Wikimedians are, specifically in Wikimedia Ukraine, but probably it's not only our problem, are good at developing tools but are not good at maintaining them. So we have a lot of stories where a good Wikipedian developed a good tool and then like 5 years later API gets updated, the tool doesn't work anymore, and we cannot find anybody who can fix it. So that's a bit of a difficulty that we have not solved yet. And then there were more answers which were frequently mentioned, were awards to active users, some spaces for shared works, for example, some editathons or, I don't know, delete-a-thons or rename-a-thons for sysops only, where sysops can work together to tackle some backlogs, and also get some psychological support for conflict resolution because the life of an administrator is difficult and we need probably professional help to deal with some problematic users. And then we asked how people want to exchange experience. So 60% of administrators and patrollers say they do want to have some events, either virtual or offline events. And 40% say they don't want any events, they want asynchronous exchange on Wikitalk pages. That works very well for them, which is still a form of collaboration they are interested in. They just don't want to connect to Zoom or Google Meet or anything. Then 76% of those interested say they want events to be short, so 1 hour or 1 hour and a half. Very few people are interested by full-day events as their first priority, which is a bit sad because we heard that Poles had a nice meeting with a sauna and spa, but most people are not interested in Ukraine. And the first priority for experienced exchange were technical skills and technical life hacks. So administrators want to get better at using their tools, and so do patrollers, which is kind of nice, but this was like literally a win by a huge margin. And then other topics people were interested in were conflict resolution, copyright, communicating with media, and editor retention. And so what we learned from this was we need to be proactive, that people, sysops and patrollers, want to have support but don't get it, so there is some potential to work together, that they want to be trained, they want us to facilitate networking, probably because we are in the best position to do it as an affiliate, and they want some tools, and we should start with short events. And well, the next stage for short events was interviews, which are short events. So we interviewed separately 10 experienced users, 7 admins, 3 patrollers. 3 of them were members of Wikimedia Ukraine and 7 were not. And the 3 topics we asked them about were what do they see as major problems of administrating and patrolling on Ukrainian Wikipedia, how Wikimedia Ukraine can help them solve these problems, and what activities would they suggest for us to organize for them. So the major problems they mentioned, which I think are interesting because they probably concern many CEE wikis and maybe not even only CE. So they say that they need systematic onboarding because people get rights, and then what? So formats mentioned were trainings or checklists for new admins or patrollers, some study of common cases that they want to know, like how do we apply rules in this or that case, some mentorship, for example, have a more experienced administrator or patroller help you with your first steps, and then trainings specifically on conflicts and communication. Then a second topic that emerged were positive feedback, which people are desperately missing, which is something which is actually true about our community because they are quick at criticizing people but slow at appreciating them. So Wikimedia Ukraine can help by giving more awards, which is something which is like cheap to start with, but what is more efficient in longer term is helping community members to learn to appreciate people, to give more positive feedback to others, and this is something that we need to work in longer term. Then administrators and patrollers were complaining about policies, that they are vague or incomplete or maybe outdated because, well, we copied something from English Wikipedia 10 years ago and have not updated it since. So we cannot change policies as Wikimedia Ukraine, but we can facilitate, for example, policy writing workshops or some other events targeting like improving the corpus of rules and policies on Wikipedia. Then there is a lack of teamwork and prioritization. People want to exchange experience. People want to work together, saying like, okay, this week we are patrolling popular articles together, or this week we set the goal of getting rid of all unpatrolled edits that were not patrolled for 10 years, for example, or something similar. They want to have some facilitated discussions of what we should prioritize collectively as a group of administrators or patrollers, or like some planning of focus periods, for example. This month we focus on deletion. Next month we are focusing on like blocking all IP ranges of vandals and so on, because it's easier for people to work together if they know they're not the only ones like tackling this backlog. And the ideas of activities that they suggested, which we will not implement, we cannot implement all of them at once, but this is something that people found useful. So better onboarding, have a checklist like where to start, where to find what, because people get lost or overwhelmed after getting rights. They're happy, but they don't get any support afterwards. Train people to make complex decisions, because this is the biggest problem of all administrators. Like, they get into a difficult conflict and nobody trained you to do this. Have thematic weeks to tackle backlogs, separately for admins and patrollers. Experience exchange, for example, they want to hear from administrators of other projects, which is now easier to do offline. Of course, with facilitation and translation, but if you have some Ukrainian speaker administrator in your community, we would be glad to hear from them. Or if somebody want to volunteer here to talk to Ukrainian administrators, we are happy. Raise awareness of ARPCOM. Ukrainian ARPCOM exists, but is not super functional. So it would be good for administrators and patrollers if people get more interested in dealing with ARPCOM so that most complex problems get actually solved other than postponed. Then have separate awards for users fighting vandalism, because technically we have awards for people adding most bytes to Wikipedia, of course, except vandals, but people who fight vandalism usually remove bytes, but remove unhelpful bytes. So maybe we should award people who delete most articles or who revert most vandalism, who are a bit underappreciated, but even more important for the community. Then people say, this is one I found very interesting, that it's helpful to train PR managers to paid edit correctly, because that's a very current topic in Ukrainian Wikipedia, that every once in a while, probably every couple of days or every week, we have somebody who is reaching out like, hey, I am PR manager for this company. I want to have a paid article about my company. How should I do it? And we are not able to give them a specific training because we don't have it. And we are not able to redirect them somewhere because there is no place where we can say like, hey, this is a paid editing agency of Wikimedia Foundation. We don't have it, nor of Wikimedia Ukraine. And we can say like, hey, read the rules. Well, they never read it, so this would be very helpful for administrators and patrollers if there is a place where we can direct these people. And of course, editing, oh yeah, Anton?
Small additions that sometimes they create an article, it gets deleted for some reason.
Yes.
Lack of notability or whatever, they recreate it, and then they ask, what can I do to keep it? Maybe I pay you to keep it, or
Yeah.
what should we do? And they take no, do not take no as an answer. They do not realize that there should not be an article. They try to find a way to keep it.
Yeah.
That makes some trouble to administrators enlarging their workload.
Yeah. Thank you for the comment. And then for policy pages that, for example, people want to work collectively on finding gaps in policies, which we all know, like, oh, hey, this case is actually solved by consensus 10 years ago, and we follow that consensus, but we never bother documenting it. So what we started doing this year in Wikimedia Ukraine, so we started training for administrators and patrollers and those who want to become administrator or patroller. We want to recognize and reward active administrators and patrollers more and better than we did it before. We started networking for these users, for these groups of users, and we started finding ways to help bring new volunteers to ease the burden. And our action plan for the next years include first, oh, you want the previous slide? The slides are also on commons. First theme that emerged are online events that what we have already done is we have an exchange on life hacks for patrollers and administrators, because there are so many tools, shortcuts that people are using without documenting or sharing them. How to bring an article to patrol stages, because it helped us show potential new patrollers that it's not so difficult and they can become a patroller pretty easily. And we have some informal discussions. For example, we had a fail fest a few days ago where we were discussing our biggest failures as administrators or patrollers. And what is coming up, we want to teach Wikimedians with extended rights how to work with the media, because, oh, well, we have an administrator of Wikipedia in our town, let's interview them. Why the article about our town was vandalized? And people don't know what to do because they were never trained to do it, but the journalists are obviously interested, like, oh, it's a Wikipedia administrator, so definitely someone important to talk to. Then how to become a patroller, like some sort of crash course for newbies, or some recurrent training, and then experienced exchange with admins in other language Wikipedias that I have already mentioned. Then practical or case studies, because we need some collective brainstorming of what are the best ways to tackle the most difficult cases, and those that were mentioned frequently were copyright, because people make mistakes. Copyright is difficult to understand for patrollers and administrators, and like difficult cases, how do we tackle them? Then tackling deletion requests backlogs. Ukrainian Wikipedia has unfortunately many months of deletion requests discussions which are not closed, and nobody wants to solve it themselves, but we want to discuss how to solve them collectively. How to make complex decisions. We need to find a good expert on this one, and also how to solve conflicts. We want also to find like some good way of solving it professionally, or with somebody experienced, or someone who can tell us like how to train people to do it. Then motivation. We are already giving this condensed milk to most active patrollers and most active administrators. We want to give also awards for most active vandalism fighters. And we are also willing long-term to motivate people, to motivate other administrators or patrollers in other ways, like using the thank button, using like Wikilove, and just like showing appreciation to somebody who made a good decision and who they really want to thank for reverting these vandal edits or deleting some garbage articles, because people complain a lot but don't thank a lot. Then we want to have collaborative campaigns. None of this has started yet, And we think that the order of priorities of what we want to tackle are months of patrolling of important or popular articles. Then we want to have some editathons or admin actionathons for administrators. And then we want to have a workshop on writing or improving policies on Wikipedia, or some sort of hackathon, or any form where people can meet together and improve policies. And then we want to have some trainings that we want to design like structurally, is an onboarding program for patrollers and administrators, which can be either a periodic online event where we have candidates together in a Zoom call or whatever tool call and tell them how they can become a patroller, or have some written instructions or video materials. We are still thinking what is the most suitable format for most people. Then we want to have a mentorship program that we are currently designing, and maybe we will have a large offline event for administrators and patrollers, maybe next year, when we have a good agenda of what people want to discuss. The prerequisite of this is, of course, that administrators and patrollers feel a bit more as a group by the time and start working together on common initiatives for which they need to meet in person. So that's approximately where we are now. This program is work in progress. So thank you for your attention, and if you have some ideas of improvement, or if there are some interesting initiatives that you want to share, you're more than welcome. The floor is yours for 5 more minutes. If there is someone with a microphone. Oh. If somebody can also take notes of ideas on either part, I would be very thankful.
Yeah, so thank you. This is such a great program, and I'm speaking as a person who designed a program to support administrators on Polish Wikipedia, and this is so much better.
We also learn from you.
Yeah, and it's really, really good. I love how it tackles so many areas, and it's so, like, it's great. And also the deletathons. Okay, it's funny. But basically I wanted to have a question. If an affiliate would think, okay, how would I like to build a program for my community of users with extended rights? What would be like the Wikimedia Ukraine golden advice?
I would say ask them, listen to them, listen what they want, because we cannot force people to do what they don't want to do. So for us, it was also, we were at the stage like, we want to design this program, how do we do this? And the answer was, well, we should ask people.
Thank you. I have a comment and a question. The comment is that some years ago we started to list all different roles on Wikipedia, not only administrators and patrollers, but there are many others like IP, check users, check users, technical staff, mentors, the voluntary response team, and so on. So as to try to collect all possibilities and make an activity list for all of them to make their work visible. So I appreciate their work, because there are a lot of supporting roles on Wikipedia which is not acknowledged, and a lot of work, and at the end the people, both owners and so on, which at the end they stop working because nobody acknowledged. This was a comment. And I have a question that we tried some years ago making a training for administrators, and the experience was that the administrators didn't want to appear. So and the administrators who needed the most participating on this training were the most possible that they didn't come. So did you experience something like that, and do you have a solution?
Well, our experience, like for the first comment on other roles, it is indeed the case that we need to appreciate also users who are like VRT or check user volunteers. The issue is there are like 5 people per role, so this is something that we can do like on a one-on-one basis. Like if we have 5 people to thank, we can thank them personally. If we have 50 people to do, it's more difficult. Yeah.
It's not only about the tank.
No, I know.
Let's say the whole program can be extended for the other roles.
Yeah, of course. We don't exclude them deliberately. And then on the second question, so this is, for example, our experience with the conflict resolution training. So we realized that people missing in the room when we had this in-person conflict resolution training were people who have most blocks and who don't resolve their conflicts. And we had no way of inviting them to these rules. And so we need to adjust the topics so that the topics fit the audience in a way.
Could you solve the online problem somehow at the end?
Well, we partly solved it via ARPCOM, partly not. So it's we can teach administrators who want to deal with conflicts. If administrators who don't want to deal with conflicts, we cannot force them to deal with conflicts, and we cannot force problematic users to learn how not to be problematic if they want to stay problematic. So that's a bit of a problem that is not easy to solve. So we can help other users deal with problematic users, but if problematic users don't want to change, there is not much we can do except blocking them or telling them this is your last warning, or come to this session or you will be blocked. I don't know. Garaki?
In the worst moment. Thank you. I had so many good ideas from your presentation. But I had always objections about awarding people for number of actions, like the most number of articles, the most number of, here we have most number of blocks, bans, deletions, protections. Didn't this create such a problem?
To be honest, that's only a part of our awarding criteria. So first part is a bot-generated statistics of who made most edits in the past months, and then we have a small working group checking the contributions to decide if this is actually a person worth reverting, or this person was pressing the button with a bot to increase their statistics. So it's half automated, half human.
Yeah, because in my Wikipedia there was one admin like that. He wanted to be the most active SciShop, so he was blocking almost 50% of anonymous edits and good faith edits, and
yes.
Never involved in any other conflict between users.
Yes.
Only anonymous.
Yes, we also had cases where, for example, we organize an editathon and somebody is deleting the articles while they're being written. So this unfortunately sometimes happens. And well, the solutions that half worked for us is try to talk to the person and explain the problem. For half of the people it worked. The other half probably lost their rights already.
Thank you.
Benoit?
So I want to add to the testimony that apparently it's a trend on all wikis, so we should be careful about the users who are going to start these first steps of patrolling and becoming admins. So the Wikimedia one team at the Wikimedia Foundation, the moderator tool team, is taking inspiration from the newcomer homepage to create a homepage for patrollers so that they can start their work as patrolling. So do you think having one central page that would standardize and make task of patrolling, reviewing edits would be beneficial to your wiki? And if so, what should it include?
Yeah, I think my first guess would be some tasks in probably increasing difficulty with an explanation why it is difficult or what is a way of solving this, which is obviously the most hard to do in automated way for 600 people. So the main problem that we are having with patrolling is people think it's difficult, while actually only a small subset of cases is actually difficult. But most cases it's trivial to see if this is vandalism or not. But people are hesitating, oh, I will actually mark this as patrolled, people will see it. So probably like progressively increasing the threshold of difficulty would be good, and also like giving feedback probably. So like, oh, you made this patrolling, but actually you should have put a template on it, that this article actually has no sources and you patrolled it. So some sort of feedback like that would be nice, which currently only humans can give. And humans being Wikipedians, they usually do it in a bit aggressive way, like, oh, how did you dare patrol in this article without sources? And then people are saying like, oh, sorry, I don't want to be a patroller anymore. So if we can give this like feedback in a nicer way, that would be also good.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, Michal?
Hi. Thanks, Mikla. So you had a number of great tools, and I showed that mentorship and training to the administrators, patrollers, and a practical question to all of us, like if we want to copy it, where do you find and how do you build the capacity for the community to provide this mentorship and training?
Well, I would say the capacity for, well, training actually involves like one person taking probably a couple of hours to prepare a presentation. So, well, we have Anton, who is also an administrator and who can facilitate some of this. And we also, yeah, we can convince somebody to sacrifice 3 hours of their time to prepare slides and present them in a video call. So this is not terribly difficult, I would say. But then the other part of mentorship, I think it's something that Wikimedia community does not value enough, that you spend probably a couple of hours and in the end you get a person who can take like half of your work and do it as good as you do, hopefully. So we don't appreciate mentorship enough as a community. We don't invest in it. I'm not saying just Ukraine Wikipedia, but probably we in CE collectively, and not only CE maybe, that we do not really invest enough time, resources in training people, which we probably should. And before this program, we were like thinking like, oh, we probably don't have enough administrators, how do we get them? And we expect them to like be born administrators. Well, actually we should like train people to become better administrators, and we never bothered investing enough in it until now. Sorry? We don't have well, it's technically a break, so if you want to go, you can go. If you want to ask questions, you can ask questions. If you want, yes, there is also a session for a meetup for users with extended rights right after, so. In Athena.
What? There are many things. One thing I wanted to ask, you mentioned that you try to collect ideas or tips, how can you be effective patroller or administrator and so on. Don't you receive a request that this should be a closed wiki, that the vandals cannot read easily? What are your tricks? How can we find you and so on? Because I heard this, that I don't want to publicly write how can I find from the editing pet tendencies is the vandal who already know and just came back and so on. What is the easiest way to?
Yes, we have not reached that stage. Well, we have not reached the stage of people giving that intricate tricks that you can publish them publicly. Probably we will reach it at some point. So, like there is a closed wiki for Czech users, there is no closed wiki for administrators. I don't know yet what will be the solution. So this is the first time I hear about this problem. I wonder if you had a solution in Hungarian community or?
We could have a solution because the chapter has a closed wiki
for
the members, for example, which, for example, admins or patrollers could use, but it's not yet in a user.
Okay.
We haven't done this.
Natalia?
As a direct Polish Wikipedia administrators have a closed wiki where they document all the good practices, but also document some things. For example, what are the ongoing sanctions, so that people can just see what's going on. So practices like that exist, and I think it's pretty useful. So.
Well, we do have a list of like ongoing sections on Wiki, on Ukrainian Wikipedia, which we try to maintain manually, which is kind of works, but not always up to date. But then we had a lot of like debate on should we have a closed wiki for admins, for example, because, well, it's a cabal. So we don't want admins to be a cabal, but we still need to work together. So, anyone else? Well, thank you very much for questions and feedback. And if you come up with any ideas, you can send us an email and share your ideas. Thank you.